You know, I was thinking the other night, I'm like, if I'm going to have all these people on here that are going to be at sometimes vulnerable, and they're going to tell me their struggles, their pains, their victories, their experiences, that I should probably do the same thing. So I think I'm going to start. This is going to be episode 0.5, and I think I'm going to tell you a story or an experience per se, that kind of changed and shifted my life one direction. I was at a very pivotal point in my life that I was going and hanging out with the wrong crowd, and this shifted me towards that better direction. Now, what was it? Well, I hit I hit a raccoon, a dog, and then a tree on my motorcycle. I call it my country song. Now, this was 2009, Oklahoma. I was kind of just trying to get my life figured out. I was in like a shift. I call it my shift zone. And I'm like, well, I got to get a job, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up going to Whirlpool on a night shift, driving a box truck, which is basically a forklift with some clamps on the front for boxes. Not a very hard job. I did that for a couple months too, and I got used to night shift, and I was like, maybe it's time to go out, see if I can't find a crowd to hang out with, get out of my bubble. And I ended up going to a bar that was maybe 1.5 miles down the road. Now, that was probably another stupid idea. Started going out, started meeting people. I'm kind of a selective social butterfly. Sometimes I'll go out and I'll have a damn good time, kind of talk to everybody. Sometimes I'll go out and you can find me in a corner kind of just doing one of these numbers. I ended up, after probably a month or so chilling, I ended up finding my own kind of crowd. And 2 of the people out of that, like 30 people, I became really good close friends with. The rest were just, honestly, I thought they were my good friends, but you'll see by the end of the story. One night we're, fast forward, and one night we're hanging out. Now, mind you, it was on my motorcycle. That was my only kind of means of transportation. Whatever. I was driving it in the rain. You fucking name it, I did it. I think it was about 10:30, 11 o'clock, but you got to think, for me, night shift, that was probably, that was my morning, So staying up and partying all night, fucking easy. 6 a.m., not a problem. And I didn't know the level of me getting this night shift job was going to kind of transgress into that. 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, we're partying, and at this bar, you could buy trays, and I'm talking like big trays. Ultimately stacked full of shots, and we did that on a regular. Wasn't a problem. I was like, fuck it, get a couple of them. 4 shots turned into 6 shots, 6 shots turned into 8, and then, before you know it, you're drinking too damn much. Now, I was young. I didn't know any better. Like, just turned 22. We partied into like 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I get a text from the girl I was seeing at the time. Hey, when you guys are done there, why don't you guys come over and we can play some cards? And that's kind of what we did. Like, we would go over there too, and there'd be, 6 or 8 of us, and we'd play some cards and chit chat, listen to music, which I should have been doing that more instead of going to the bar. Hindsight's 2020, whatever. Yeah, sure shit, So the couple that was with me, couple or a fling, I don't even know what you'd call them. I think they were just friends with Benny's. They were going to follow me over there. So I hopped on the bike. Now we'll come back to just before that, but I'll digress back to just before getting on the bike and heading over there. Started driving, and her house was maybe 2 miles away, so it's easy peasy. Traveled it I don't know many times. And this is kind of where the stupidity comes into play. I know it's not right to drink and drive, and it's definitely not right to drink that much and drive. But when you do it over and over and over again, and you become used to it, it's kind of oh, well, I did it this many times, maybe I can do it again. Oh, I'll just do it again. Oh, it's not an issue. And then you screw yourself. So I get maybe probably 200 yards, 100 yards away from her house, and there's an S-curve down the road. And about 100 yards before that, I see a couple little beady eyes coming low level, going over the road, and I'm like, well, I'll slow down a little bit. At the time, I was probably doing 60, 65. And anybody that's drove or rode a motorcycle, taking curves doing 65 is like 25 in a car. That's what it feels like. Well, I was like, I'll just pass it on the left. I got to go in the S-curve anyways. Whatever, easy peasy. Well, just before I got to it, it turned back around and hauled ass in front of me. I knew I was going to hit it. So I gunned it. And I totally, they teach you basically the straighter you are and the faster you are when you hit something, the straighter you are when you come out of it. So I gunned it, went off into the S-curve, ditch line. Remember that vividly. I remember sticking my feet out, trying to get some sort of balance. Thought it would work, and I feel like it worked, but the tree in front of that was coming very fast. Everything started slowing down. Ears puckered up, couldn't hear shit. And then I remember having enough time to let go of the handlebars and basically say goodbye. I assumed, intellectually assumed, that I was going to die that evening. Get real close to the tree, I remember that, and boom, lights out. Woke up, I don't remember how long. I don't know how long I was laying there for, but I knew I was pitch black and it was quiet as a church mouse. I remember crickets, wind blowing. I could probably paint you the visual that I had underneath the tree. And I knew I was underneath a foliage tree because I could see the tree and then I could see starry night sky. Sweating. I thought I was sweating at the time. I had sweat rolling into my eyes. Well, come to find out that ultimately was blood. I knew I couldn't panic. So I was like, oh, I got to find my phone. So I started looking for it with both hands, and I realized my left hand wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. So I'm like, ooh, put her down, don't look at it. Started looking for my right, there was nothing in my pockets. And usually in my leather coat, I had a little pocket here that I would put it in, and it was a little button. Wasn't there. So I was looking around, whatever at this point. Whatever, I'm gonna try to do anything. And I look around my right side, left side, down below. I'm looking up, down below, in between my feet. And I look up and I noticed it. It was an old Motorola flip phone, pole antenna, the tank of phones. Thank Jesus. Wide open with the light on. And these are those little synchronicities that just doesn't make sense to me. It just wasn't my time. Now, I expected, as I woke up, for my friends to be there. Unfortunately, they were not. They left me out on the side of the road to basically die. I'm pretty sure they assumed that I was dead. Now, I can get it from a standpoint of not stopping because you drink. You were drinking, but you burnt. That was you didn't just burn the bridge. You fucking burned and blew it. Now, noticing my phone wide open, I was like, I knew I had to crawl there. 6 to 8 feet maybe, but it felt like 30. No, so I wiggled my toes. Everything was good. Legs were working. No pain in my back, and I proceeded to crawl to that damn phone. And I called a family member first thing. I knew the cops were coming. I knew the EMS was coming. I just had to speak to a family member, someone close. They picked up, and I purged. Like, I bawled like a baby. You know, mind you, I assumed as I seen that tree coming that I was not gonna wake up. So EMS arrives, cops come. One of the officers says, man, you killed the dog. Well, come to find out, the dog was chasing the raccoon. Like, if there was a sign from the heavens that said, smarten the hell up, boy, that would be it. I get into the ambulance and I'm wiping the blood off now that I know the blood because I got light. And I'm like, tell me how I'm doing, bub. Like, shoot it to me straight. Now, mind you, I'm sober at this point. Like, the adrenaline pumping, everything, like, sober as a bird. Maybe not internally, but externally, I was not drunk. And he goes, you know, for seeing the bike, I feel like you're doing pretty good. So I'm like, well, there's a new bike out there for sale if you want it. Busting a joke. He laughed, we laughed. Cops weren't happy, but med guys and I were pretty laughing. Nobody got fucking hurt. That's why I don't understand. The only thing that got hurt was tree bark and me. So, well, that and a raccoon and a dog. But hey, you should have had your fucking dog on a leash. That's where I'm at. Or in a fenced-in area. Shouldn't be out at 2:30 in the morning chasing raccoons. Now, get to the hospital and they do the blood work, obviously, everything they gotta do. And detective finally gets done with the scene, or the victim, or the crash site guys, state trooper. He gets there and he grabs my hand and says, man, you're one lucky boy. And kind of shit, like, told me, he's like, everything about it doesn't. He's like, I've been doing this 20 some years and it don't make any sense. The way you hit that tree was on the right side of your bike. So what it should have done was either, like, you should have flattened yourself like a pancake on the tree, or you would have went off into the creek bed. He's like, but it's like somebody or something happened to where you got pushed to the right, which is why I bear hugged the tree. Now, I grabbed it like this, blew my shoulder out backwards, whiplash in my arm coming around the tree, broke, like, shattered radius and ulna. Cracked my skull, like the top of my head looked like a burrito. I was literally picking stones and shit out of there for like 5-6 months. And he's like, none of it makes sense. Like, the fact that you weren't wearing a helmet and somehow your head isn't just gone. Now, I did have a brain bucket. I didn't really have a DOT approved helmet. It was basically a thin piece of plastic with DOT written on the back. Didn't wear it. And I'm pretty freaking happy I didn't, because I think that would have beheaded me, you know. And I'm not trying to laugh about this, because, I mean, like, literally, there's a lesson within all of this. Now, he told me the day before there was 3 motorcyclists that ended up losing their life. Sober as a bird. One forgot his kickstand, it grabbed his leg, hit his head off the pavement, dead. Parked car, 5-10 miles an hour, windshield, head, dead. And here I'm like the stupid one, hitting a tree doing 50 with no helmet. My head smoked that son of a bitch. And I'm alive. So there was a there was moments of anger, and I'd like to almost say specifically towards God. No, I'm the idiot, take me, keep them. They were the innocent. And I still to this day, you know what I mean? I don't get angry at him. I get angry because those, life, whatever. You think about it, it is what it is. Now, that isn't what, all of that isn't what made me pivot. About 35 to 45 minutes before I was going over to the girl's house, I had a woman on the back of my bike. We took on a 10-minute little cruise. Now, it always goes back to that thought. What if she was on that during that wreck? I'd have fucking killed me. Killed me. So it always struck deep, this whole experience for me. Now, at my lowest, no job, got laid, obviously couldn't work. Vomiting money. Thought I lost my friends. The two that were close to me actually went back to the bar and said, who's following them? Called me, hey, do you want us to take care of it? I said, no. Big Al and Little Al. Big Al wasn't, big, he was fucking huge. Little Al wasn't so little, he was just smaller than Big Al. One was a big old country boy and one was a Marine Scout sniper. Cool dudes. And I'm like, no, let karma take it out. Let karma do it. Now, fast forward, I knew I was going to end up getting in trouble. I just knew it. I ended up doing everything that I needed to do prior of a judge asking me to do it or ordering me to do it. I showed up to court with a leeway. Never went to jail. Well, no, mind you, I went to jail for an hour to get fingerprinted. And then left. I don't even think you could call that a jail stay. Then she's like, I see you did everything that I was going to order you to do before, you did it all before I was going to order you to do it. Yes, ma'am. She's like, all right, look like you learned your lesson. I'm like, yeah, because I was still on a sling, still messed up, still bruised, still looking like an 80 grit piece of sandpaper, smoke top of my forehead. And I'm like, most definitely, sure did, Chip. I won't be doing that again. And I got my license back in a month. Hard lesson learned. Very hard lesson learned. And I guess the only thing that you can kind of take from it is that it doesn't even need to be your fault for you to fuck up your life. So surround yourself with good people. Don't fucking drink and drive. Look for peace, not that opposite, the fucking headache. You don't need a headache. And then just realize, if you're gonna face it head on. I still have that phone. I still have a piece of bark. I used to get whiplash, like a skip CD. The visual of hitting that tree over and over and over and over again, especially at night. Dream World, it was until I went back to the site. And I'll post pictures at the end of this video of how terrible it was. Maybe, if I can find them. I mean, you're talking. I think the only smartphone was a BlackBerry. And the Nokia, you had to type some bitch 3 times to get one letter. Oh, yeah. So, there you have a little bit about me. Now, and I'm sure other stories are going to come, because that delved me into this into the faith, into the spirituality, science, mixing them all together. And like, I got my own little me and God thing. And I see it on a regular. So thanks for watching us. Thanks for being a part of this little experience that I had. I hope that you take something out of it. And stay tuned for the next one.